Villainous by It's_Kingston on AO3. Episode 11, Chapter 9, Nightmares. How much further did you say it was? Toga asked Ochako, who was leading their expedition. We're almost there, the hero replied, scanning the address they passed by. Ochako was taking her to the location Twice wanted to meet at, which happened to be near where Ochako had grown up. Ta-da! She pointed towards a rundown apartment complex. It was definitely older than she remembered, but the layout was unmistakable. Vines ran up the outside of the building, uncontested in their growth. The apartments still had tenants, though none of them would cause any issue if they saw the League walking around. Little areas like this tended not to have the most stand-up citizens. Good work. Toga smiled as she walked past Ochako, heading towards the stairs that led the room they were looking for. The latter couldn't help but smile back. Was it really necessary to rent a place here just for this? Ochako stepped around a suspicious stain on the carpet, almost falling into a hole in the process. Looking down, she could see the hallway of the floor was below them. Definitely a safety hazard. Oh, I don't think he's paid. It's really easy to get into these places, and no one cares enough to cause a commotion, unless you're messing with their stuff. Toga filled in, stopping next to the door labeled 207. The white paint was chipped, and the numbers were bound to fall off any day now. Toga reached for the doorknob, but upon seeing how dirty it was, and the fact that it probably housed several bacterial diseases, she opted to knock. They stood in silence, listening for any footsteps or voices on the other side. When the door remained closed, Toga knocked harder. Hey, Jin, we've got your bag back, and you aren't making a good impression on our new friend. Still nothing. Is he all right? Ochako asked, straining to listen for anything. The door to the left of the room, 208, opened, revealing a tall figure with a gray and black mask. Oh, I gave you the wrong number. He laughed awkwardly, causing Toga to roll her eyes. Come on in. Here's your cash, Jin. Now cut us in. Toga tossed the duffel bag to the table, sending out a cloud of dust. All 7,000 in there. You don't need to count it. Twice coughed, despite wearing a mask that semi-filtered the air. What did you do to my bag? That old lady who stole it buried it. Luckily, the hero here saved the day and took her out. Toga slung an arm around Ochako's shoulder, smiling as if she were proud. And she was. She had scouted Ochako, looked into her, and wedged her opinions. The League didn't want her in, and it took some convincing, but it seemed like it would pay off. Ochako had potential. Not to say the hero didn't have her cons. Yue had drilled a perfect hero moral compass into Ochako, causing for a bit of a trouble with doing practically anything mildly illegal, even something as simple as trespassing. Or maybe that strong sense of justice was just natural. Toga wasn't sure. She just knew that the hero would have to warm up to her before the rest of the League, lest she be completely overwhelmed and cause a repeat of the breakdown today. Ochako, on the other hand, stood awkwardly. She tried distracting herself with the memory, breathing deeply and focusing on the counting that the money Twice had shuffling in his bag. The mere thought of what she had done, the blood on her hands, made her stomach twist and clench in ways that made her want to throw up. Huh. Good job then, hero. Twice tossed Ochako a stack of bills, held together with a rubber band. 500 for your trouble. He tossed another to Toga, who caught it in her free hand, still with her arm around Ochako's. Thanks. Toga counted it quickly, before stuffing it into her pocket. I wouldn't dope you. You got it back anyways. Saved me a shit of work. Twice chuckled before slinging the bag over his shoulder. I'm heading home. See ya. Toga waved at him as he left the window. Ochako wondered if that was a common thing in the League. Do you want me to walk you back to UA? They got you all locked down there, right? Toga asked, gesturing for Ochako to follow her out the door. Yeah, but... Ochako cut herself off, eyeing Toga. She shouldn't tell the villain anything important, especially anything jeopardizing for UA. That's all she was. She was a serial killer and a terrible person. Ochako repeated this like a mantra. Repeated it like she wasn't grateful for the amount of cash or the smile that Toga sent her way. Little things that just another inch of distance between her and that woman. Something important? Toga giggled shyly, not batting an eye at the way Ochako stopped. Yeah, but I don't mind if we walk back together, the hero hesitantly replied, hoping not to come off as suspicious. Or worse, desperate. Sure, and hey, you might want to pocket that instead of holding it like a fool. You're gonna get yourself mugged. Togo pointed to the wad of cash Ochako held tightly in her hand. Oh, yeah, thanks. She fumbled to put it in her wallet, as the pair headed down the stairs and out the building. The hero had put up $750 for Ochako to investigate with, but she made $500 in just a night. Being a villain truly was more profitable profession. $500 on your first night? You committed now? Toga laughed, as Ochako shoved her wallet back into her pocket. Yeah, I only had $750 before this, so it's looking pretty good. She couldn't hide the genuine delight in her voice, after coming up with so much cash, and giggled at the audacity of the statement. Why was being bad more rewarded financially than being good? Did a lack of morals mean a bigger paycheck? Well, this is as far as I'll go. Toga stopped outside UA's stone wall and metal gate. There was a guard posted in both booths several feet away, so they whispered their goodbyes. See you tomorrow. It wasn't a question, but a statement. Yeah. Ochako couldn't help the small smile that raced across her face. It was exhilarating in the worst way possible. A way that she recognized as terrible for her. For UA. For innocent people. But a way that was tempting nonetheless. The prospect of getting money for her and her parents through a respectable profession was at the forefront of her mind still. But there was a tiny voice that asked her if that was really the most efficient way. She was getting far too deep into the role of a villain. She needed to refocus. Uraraka Ochako was a hero, not a villain. Good night. Toga hummed an acknowledgement before turning away and walking away, hands in her pocket as she disappeared into the shadows. Ochako turned to the wall, lifting herself over it with ease. The patrolmen were nowhere in sight, so she began the journey back to her dorm room. Within minutes, Ochako was at the oak tree, guiding herself to the balcony. She slid the glass door open and stepped inside, instantly plopping onto her bed. The adrenaline wore off quickly, leaving her incredibly tired. A glance at the clock perched on her nightstand told her why. It was 2:47 a.m. Oh, geez, she mumbled, pulling her phone onto a charger and checking for any missing notification on her personal device. There weren't any, luckily for her, so she wouldn't have to come up with some excuse as to why she didn't answer. Her phone dinged. Not her personal one, but the second one. Tomorrow, I'm introducing you to the rest of the league. They want to meet you. Good night, little hero. Winky face. Ochako felt her heart drop in her stomach, and probably burn her acid located there. Why did they want to meet her? Were they suspicious? Or was this just for her initiation? They had to question everyone who came near them, right? And Toga didn't seem to be suspicious. Maybe it would be fine. Maybe it would be fine? It was the next night, and Ochako sat patiently on the bench of the park they always met at. Always being twice so far. She'd only been waiting for a few minutes, hopefully in the right spot. She was meeting the league, so was she supposed to go to their headquarters? Should she text Toga and ask? No, that was the kind of information she texted out. Help! A frightened child called out from a nearby alley. Please help me! It turned into a frantic sob. Ochako jumped up quickly, locating the alley the child was in and running over. The young girl was balled up, sobbing into her hands. Hey, it's all right. The hero tried to soothe the child. I'm a hero. I can help you. The girl sniffled and looked up at her. She wiped her tears and nodded. Please, I'm lost. I don't know where my mommy is. Or my house. Do you know the direction or anything nearby? Ochako asked, reaching out a hand to help the kid up. Yeah, I think so. It's that way, the girl said, taking Ochako's hand. They began walking in the direction the girl had pointed. Suddenly, she'd been caught coughing violently. Are you alright? Ochako dropped to one knee and checked over the hunched child. She couldn't have been over 8 years old, yet she had the cough of a chain smoker. Was she sick? Yeah. The voice was rougher now, and she cleared her throat in an attempt to fix it. I'm alright. They resumed walking, slowly making their way into a shadier neighborhood. You live here? Ochako asked, concerned for the child's living condition. No, this is a shortcut. My house is... She was struck by another coughing fit, this one worse than the last. Ochako watched helplessly as the girl desperately tried to supply her lungs with oxygen, only to cough it back out. Her eyes watered as she choked from the lack of air. Minutes later, she stopped coughing, only to start breathing violently. She gulped down any air she could. I'm okay. She pulled her hands up in silence, Ochako, before she could even ask. I just need to take my medicine. It's at home. Okay, I'll get you home then. Ochako scooped the girl in her arms, letting her point the way. The girl was coughing and light, far fragile than even a newborn should be. Forget an 8-year-old. They made it to a familiar alleyway. Then again, all alleys looked the same to Ochako. All dark, all depressing, most reek with the stench of mold and occasional drugs. This one seemed a little too familiar, though. Right there! The girl took a gasping gasp in before coughing, holding her hand to her mouth. When she removed it, blood coated her palm. Using the blood-stained hand, the girl pointed to a small house structured in the alley. A clothesline hung between windows, and a small lamp lit the inside. Shattered glass lined the outside of a window, and... Who's that? Ochako, still holding the girl, approached a woman lying on the floor with caution. Getting closer, the girl began to panic. Mom? Mom, are you alright? She squirmed out of the hero's arms and ran to the woman. Ochako followed swiftly behind, but stopped dead in her tracks upon seeing the woman's face. Salt and pepper hair laid messily over glossy grayed eyes, a leather jacket stained with blood, chunks missing from where someone ripped it, a knife laying hazardly beside the woman, who was surrounded by a pool of her own cold blood, probably dried by now. Mom! The girl cried out one last time, before turning to face Ochako. I knew it was you. You aren't a hero. You're a dirty killer. The girl began coughing again. You can't even leave her money for my medicine, even though you paid to kill her. She choked out, falling to her knees. Tears streaked down her face, wetting the ground, droplets of blood, eventually joining them, tilting the soiled red. With one last heaving cough, the loudest one yet, the girl fell over. She laid motionless beside her mother. You're responsible for the death of 2 already, and you still want to continue? Are you trying to make the world a better place? Or are you just wanting to see how far you could descend? Is this a game? Trying to see how low you can get on the moral compass you don't seem to possess? Deku stood over the girl's body and crouched beside her. He closed her eyes, then did the same to the mother. His eyes met Ochako's. What's wrong with you? Alright, well that was heartbreaking, especially considering, everything and stuff like that. It's just, that was a heart-wrenching chapter. The end of the chapter, not chapter, but end of the episode, having that. It is hard. It is quite literally the trolley problem. As I said, there is no right or wrong answer. Each answer, the quote-unquote morally just thing to do is to sacrifice yourself for others, but at the same time, it reminds me of that one, quote. I could sacrifice my flesh and blood and still be called selfish for keeping my bones. Right? I saw it in the comment section in TikTok, and I keep seeing people reference back to that. And no, it's true, right? Ochako, in a way, is sacrificing a lot for herself. She's sacrificing her own morality. She's sacrificing her youth. She's sacrificing her life to become a hero, right? To earn, all this money for her family, right? She's sacrificing so much. right? And then she keeps her bones and she's called selfish. So she's sacrificing a lot. Right now, she's sacrificing a lot. She's sacrificing her sleep. She's sacrificing her time to catch these wanted criminals who are, you know, killing many and destroying the lives of so many, right? And she's called selfish for wanting to live, for drawing a line, right? So it's as I said, it is a morally gray situation, right? She's sacrificing blood and flesh and still being called selfish for keeping her bones, right? Dude, it's Kingston. Look, Kingston, you gotta stop making me want to reference stuff. You have to stop making me think about quotes that I've heard in the past. Your good writing needs to stop, right? That's my critique. Stop it with the good writing. It's getting too much. Stop it. No. I do like your writing style, right? It's not a very Maximus writing style or Minimus. It's a very in-between writing style. I really like it. I like your descriptions. I like how you focus on action-based rather than description-based. You do some description, right? But it's not like some people who do no description or minimal description. You do a good balance, but for the most part, you have a lot of action, a lot of thoughts. It's a very thought-based writing style, if we're being honest here, and I love it so much. It's really good. It's really engaging, and I'm here for it. I don't know about you guys, raindrops, but I'm here for it. Anyways, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.